So I've got a customer that collects really nice and all his favorite sports team shirts. And over time, some of them have got a bit damaged after being washed, used, and the vinyl print isn't looking too good. If you had to compare it to, let's say, one of these new shirts that he's got here, the vinyl print is very nice and it's still looking good. But if we had to look at some of the older shirts, they're not looking too good. They've got some peeling going on, some cracking. And there was also this shirt here. This one has also got the vinyl that's cracked and it's also bubbled off the shirt. It's not looking too healthy, so we're going to remove all of this. And he's basically asked me just to make it look as good as new. So we're going to reprint over this, but I thought the perfect little thing to do this is the mini heat press. So let's get to the first step and see what we can do about it. Now that we've peeled off all the vinyl that we need to, we have to remember that we have to peel off some of the vinyl, not all of it, just so we can keep everything flat so that when we put the new artwork on top, it is going to stick to a flat layer and not a bumpy old one where all the vinyl's cracked and peeled sideways. So you give it a good heat press, peel away what isn't smooth, make sure it's nice and flat, and you've done a good job. Now that I've done everything I need to by peeling off the vinyl that we don't want on the shirt, we're now going to print our new set of artwork so that we can stick it on the shirt. So let's do it. Now that it's printed and we've cut it on the vinyl cutter, all I need to do is now weed it out, put on an application tape so that we can adhere it to the shirt. So let's quickly do our peeling. Okay, now we're going to put our backing tape on. Now because we use printable vinyl, we have to remember that we're going to use some backing tape. You don't have to use backing tape in this instance because there is nothing that's going to separate when we peel these two off. As you can see here, when I peel here, it's all as one piece. If you are doing lots of little pieces, let's say shapes that are all over the place and nothing's connected, you will need backing tape. It is very quintessential to use it. So let's quickly apply it. Keep in mind that you can always reuse backing tape. If you've bought it from a good supplier, this piece I'm going to reuse to stick onto the one on the left here so I don't end up wasting it. Just peel off the backing carrier. Now this is the sticky side here. The easiest way to apply it is taking the side we're going to stick to the sticky side. We're going to bend it in the middle. We're going to put it down there. And then we just push gently in opposite directions. And there we go, it's stuck. So now you can cut off all the remaining excess you don't need, but because we're going to reuse this, I'd rather have a bigger area because even after this job, I'm still going to use this again. And here's our first shirt that we're going to be redoing. So we first need to peel off our backing, so we've got our vinyl. Now, if you didn't apply the backing tape correctly, it won't stick and it won't peel off all of your vinyl. And please make sure you go slowly, otherwise you end up tearing your vinyl. The next thing we need to do is we're going to have to just make sure our shirt is nice and flat. We don't want to push, we want to just tap because we want the fabric to even out by itself without stretching, because otherwise this won't be stuck in the correct place. Then we're just going to take our time and we're going to put down from one side to the other. Because the shirt may have stretched already while I was peeling the old vinyl off, we want to just stick one side down and then collectively move all of the rest into place. Keep in mind, if your shirt has stretched, it might not be in the same place. That's why we always make sure our artwork is slightly bigger, just so that we can accommodate for that problem. And once you've stuck it on and you can more or less see that there isn't something behind it, or you've covered all your spots, you are ready to heat press. So what better heat press to use than our little mini heat press here? Because it's such a small thing, it's handheld. I'm going to basically be going over it multiple times. Let's bring it over to the shirt. So basically just going to be doing this most of the time. Because I've got this carrier here, I'm not worried about burning the material or anything, because you know what, it's there, it's quite nice, and we're just going to keep going back and forth like this, and obviously it'll be stuck. So let's switch it on. Our heat press is ready in a temperature, and because I figured from last time, we must make sure that we've got a piece of Teflon. Here we've got one here. You can also use baking paper. It does work exactly the same. It's just Teflon you can reuse and clean over and over again, and it's such a nice thing to have. But before we do that, we're going to heat press our first layer. Then when we peel off our backing, we're going to need something to put on top, which is our Teflon. So let's quickly get to it. I want to make sure that I give nice even circles and motions from left to right, so that everything gets perfect temperature. Otherwise we're not going to have a perfect stick. Let's rather not use the timer today, and let's just keep going, and then we test by peeling off. If it doesn't come off the first time, we just keep pressing until it happens. And if you are on a hard surface, just make sure that you want to keep in mind that the heat press is hot, and this one is at 165 degrees. So if you are on a surface that isn't too well with heat, just keep in mind not to push down for too long, otherwise you're going to warp the wooden counter that you're on. Alright, I think I've used that for quite enough time there. We're going to let that cool down just a little bit, and then we're going to give it a peel and see if it comes off. Oh, that worked perfectly. So now we need to do our second press with our piece of Teflon. Remember not to throw away your backing. You're going to be able to use that again just now. I don't feel any risen pieces, so that's settled quite nicely in. Now to use our Teflon, and we always want to do a second press just to seal in the glue, because remember, when you're peeling off your backing tape, it gives the material quite a good stretch and sometimes peels off the vinyl that you've just stuck on. So we'll go at it again and just make sure we've got even strokes and good pressure to give it a second and last final press. And this one you don't have to do as long as the first one, because we've already made sure that the glue is adhered to the actual shirt. And there we have it. And over to the next one. This one was slightly more damaged than the previous one, but luckily this one was literally just a rectangle with print. So this one will be much easier to do and line up to the previous one, because that one has different shapes. So let's quickly apply our backing to our vinyl so that we can get this heat pressed to our shirt. And remember, we have our sticky side facing up, and because we can reuse it, saves us a bit of money. We'll make sure we bend it in the middle, let it flop down, give it a light little press. Just move our shirt out the way. Finish off that press. Bring back our shirt. Make sure it's flat like we said earlier. We don't want to stretch it out. We just want to make sure it's even. Came off like butter. And now all we need to do is just make sure it is stuck in the correct place. And easy as that. Lining up was pretty simple. Now let's quickly heat press it. Remember from last time, we're going to give good even pressure to make sure that we give the vinyl a chance to adhere to the shirt. Okay, Give that a bit of a time to dry, cool down. Always make sure to take your time. There, it has not stuck correctly. I did not give enough time to adhere to the shirt, so that means we need to give it more temperature. But let's just have a look everywhere else. That side stuck. This side stuck. So let's just give it a bit more time to adhere to the shirt. Give it a bit more pressure as well if you need to. If you are struggling to get a certain area to stick, that just means you probably didn't give it enough pressure, or just hasn't enough time to actually adhere to the shirt to begin with. Yeah, there, now it's stuck. So the rest should be doing the same. Also stuck down on that corner. So that means we now have a successful adhesion to the shirt. Alright. So now all we need to do is our final heat press. Give it some good even pressure. And there we have it. It's adhered quite nicely, and I think it came out pretty well. Just needs a bit of a wash. And there we have it. A successful reprint of the artwork was there previously. I've done what the customers asked me. I've reprinted it as it was before, and with the help of this little heat press, it really does make a difference to have something so small, easy to use, and it gets the temperature I need. Can use it on any surface, and like I said, it doesn't take up any space. So doing this at home, really good job. Really like this little heat press.
At AM.CO.za, we have always taken pride in our products and customer service. Our Google rating represents our commitment to providing our clients with the best support possible. We have officially achieved a rating of 4.9 stars and an astounding 699 reviews for our Jet Park branch in Johannesburg at the end of 2020. Let's move our attention to our branch in Montague Gardens of Cape Town, where we have achieved a rating of 4.8 stars and an amazing 299 reviews. We would like to thank you, our loyal customers. Thank you, South Africa. AM.CO.za. Achievement matters.